Everyone, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Waiting for everybody to join.
Hi, Lana.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Lena. How are you?
Hi.
Hi, Miriam.
Hi, Lana.
You. Miriam and Alina. Yeah, I think you guys are ladies. Your ladies are neighbors, by the way. I just realized that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Highland Park.
Oh, you live in Highland Park, New Jersey?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, all right. Well, I live in Lakewood, New
Oh,
Jersey.
Well, not far, about an hour.
Not that far. I mean, Lana is definitely a lot further.
Oh, now for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Before she moved to Florida, she was closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So welcome, everybody. What a beautiful, beautiful group we're gathering here. Welcome, everybody. I'm waiting another 2 minutes and we are going to start. How is everybody doing today? Some people I know, lots of new faces, and I welcome you. I am.
Hello. Hello.
Who's saying hello? Who's saying hello? Say it again. Who just said hello? I want to be able to see you guys. Hi, Bridget. Oh, it's so nice to have you here, Bridget. Hello, everybody. Welcome to. I have no camera today, Michelle. I would love to see you. Welcome, everybody. My name is Lana. Shalom. I am a certified instructor 2018. And as I say that, I feel like, has it only been 3 years? It feels much more. So I welcome to you today. Like I said, some of you know me, some of you don't know me, some of you I know personally, and some of you are my wonderful students, and I welcome you, and I'm glad to see you here. And those of you who are new, welcome. Do give me a shout out, say hello. I want to hear your background in Neurographica, especially the people who are new. Are you familiar? Is this your very first time doing Neurographica, or have you been doing it before? Just so I know. Hi, Lindsay. Nice seeing you. Hello, everyone. Let me know. You can either say it loudly or you can put it in the chat whether you have been drawing Neurographica, whether you have tried at least once. All I need to know, do you know how to do a Neuroline and the rounding or not? If not, then I will explain it to you.
Hello. I don't know if you hear me.
Oh, now I hear you, Violetta. That's what I was looking for.
Hi, I'm Violetta. I'm from Holland. I'm not new in Neurographica. I followed all the algorithms with Alina from Canada.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And
welcome, Violetta.
I'm very happy to join this meeting. It's a very interesting algorithm, what you want to show us.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
absolutely. Welcome, Monica. Hello, Estella. Beautiful. Southern California near Disneyland. Hello, hello. Hooray, hooray. I'm in Orlando, Florida. So from one Disney to another Disney. Hello. Excellent. Lindsay. Yeah, Lindsay, welcome. Yeah, I attended the conference in March. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, guys, the conference videos are being worked on. I promise you, I'm on my back. I'm like, come on, come on. So they are, Anton personally is taking care of it. And he said that he's working on them as we speak. I want to give me a minute. I do want to go live on Facebook because I feel like people should get a chance to see this even if they're not in Zoom, okay? So give me a minute just to turn it on and then we are going to start. So from my understanding, confirm that was me. I attended the conference in March. Estella, yes, I'm thinking about taking the basic class with Anna D and me. Absolutely, yes. Yes. Anna D is my colleague of mine. Yeah, you're welcome to do that. I think Anna D is offering the beginning of May. we are offering within the world of NeuroGraphic. We're going to offer it in the end of May. So yeah, absolutely. Welcome to it. Beautiful. But Estella, you know about NeuroGraphica. You said you attended the conference. Excellent. So again, my question is: anybody here does not know? Follow Russian. We're happy to find English club. Yes, Albino, welcome. Yes, absolutely. 1.5 months. Oh yes, beautiful, beautiful. Welcome. Again, the question I'm going to ask again, anybody here does not know how to draw a neural line or do the rounding, let me know, because I want to be able to show it to you. Welcome, Juliana. How are you today? It's a pleasure to see you here today. And everybody else. Excellent, excellent. Yes, Liana is a wonderful, wonderful NeuroGraphic student of mine. And a few of you guys are NeuroGraphic students of mine, so I'm very glad to see you. I'm going to start going live, and then I want to talk about why we're here, right? It's such an interesting topic when one second. Okay. As soon as it turns on. Yes, excellent. It should be on soon. Welcome, Janet. I believe you joined us. Welcome. Just a second. We're going live, I believe. Yes, we're here. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to the wonderful, wonderful world of NeuroGraphica. Welcome to Draw With Me, Lana Shalom, certified instructor in 2018. And today we're doing something so interesting and exciting. The Imposter Syndrome. I know when I put it up, people wrote to me like, huh, exactly what I needed. And I'm like, oh, I know, because that's what I felt for a week already. I've been talking about it for, I think, I don't know if it was last week or Sunday, Monday. I was like, imposter syndrome, I need to start drawing. I want to tell you about the imposter syndrome algorithm. I want to actually introduce, some of you may know her, some of you may not know her. She's a brilliant colleague of mine. Her name is Vera Zhukova. I'm saying it exactly as it is in Russian. It's a bit harder to pronounce in English, but her name is Vera Zhukova. She actually graduated with me. We're both certified instructor 2018. Vera Zhukova is one of the most active instructors in NeuroGraphica. She's one of the most known instructors in NeuroGraphica within the world of NeuroGraphica in Russian. And you can understand in Russian, we have a few thousand of people who practice NeuroGraphica already. And she was one of the people on the forefront. And now she's one of the people who is one of the most popular instructors. She's a dear friend of mine. She's a colleague of mine. We know each other personally. We know each other from different, from various backgrounds and various other, in addition to NeuroGraphica, we know each other also from Kesef and other stuff. Vera is a brilliant person when I say that. She creates beautiful, wonderful algorithms, okay? She actually creates courses. She's one of my inspirations. When I create a course or when I have few courses in my mind that I'm planning to start doing, I always think, I love what Vera is doing. I always try to think, like, what would Vera think? What would she advise me? She's an amazing person, except as a friend, I said. She's also like a mentor, I would say, of mine. We're basically like a good person. She came up with this algorithm, and she actually came up with it as a series of work she was doing. And I'm thinking I'm going to also do that. I'm going to imitate with her. She gave me the rights. She did a series of drawing based on the book, The Wizard of Oz, okay? Everybody know The Wizard of Oz? Anybody here who doesn't know The Wizard of Oz? Because people are from different countries. So I want to make sure to understand that you understand what I'm talking about. Because in Russian, it's named a bit differently, for example, right? Because it's translated, so the word Oz is differently. But the story is the same. I think it's a world-renowned book. So if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, let me know. The story goes like this, and what Vera did, she did something amazing. She took a few storylines and adapted them to the coaching method, specifically using the Neurographica, the drawing method. And that was so brilliant that I said, I must do it. And the imposter syndrome, I felt, was like one of the most powerful ones that I felt like I feel like I'm going to adapt it. This is how Vera was rereading the Wizard of Oz. You know, we all do that, right? We go back and we read some books that we loved reading when we grew up. And she said, as I was reading it now, she did this, I believe this for from 2019 or 2020. I don't remember for sure. I believe it was last year. Okay. But again, it might have been from 2019. She said, I was rereading the book and she said, everything that's happening in the book, I see the story much differently. I see it as an adult, as a Neurographica coach. And she's like, in my mind, it's like, huh. So that's what it's all about, okay? And she was reading the part when, you know, when Dorothy was arriving, remember when she just landed in the Wizard of Oz, right? With the hurricane and everything, she just landed. She comes out of the house, you know, she gets her dog and she goes and she meets the people who live in the country. If you can basically the story in Russian is kind of a bit different than in English, so I may have different names of the country would be a bit different, right? Even the name of the Dorothy in English it's Dorothy, in Russian it's Ella. So it's interesting to pay attention to that, right? So remember when she just landed, the people, the citizens of that little country, right? They're short. I don't remember the name. If you remember, you can say it. Who wanted to say something?
I don't remember either, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, they're shorter, right? So they come up and say, "Oh, Dorothy, you are a fairy." And
The Munchkins. They're the Munchkins.
Thank you, exactly. It's a famous one, right? The Munchkins, because everybody talk about the Munchkins, right? It's a. We all know that the Wizard of Oz is a humongous metaphoric book. We know people. I remember when I learned about it when I was in college that a metaphoric book, really, and I learned that people write dissertations on the book. It's about the politicals. You can do anything you want to with the Wizard of Oz, right? Any idea you want to, but there's a lot of metaphors. So they come to the Munchkins, come to her, and they say, "Oh, you are a fairy," and she's like, "No, I'm not. I'm a little girl." And they say, "But you're a very powerful witch. You killed that evil witch." And she says, "No, you have no idea. I just landed in my house. I did not do that." And they say, "But you must have powerful magical abilities because we see you wearing those shoes." And she says, "Oh, they're just something my doggy brought to me." Right? So, and every single step, what she would do is every time somebody would tell her, "Oh, you're this and that, you're an amazing," what would she do? She would be like, no, that doesn't apply to me. I'm just a little tiny girl from Kansas, right? And that's the whole motif of the book, right? Every time you talk about Dorothy, every time she talks about it, she says, "I'm a little girl from the little city town called Kansas." By the way, when I talked to Americans, they told me that the city of Kansas, nobody knew about the city of Kansas except that before that book, right? When the book came, I actually had a roommate in college and she was from Kansas. And I was like, "Yeah, the Wizard of Oz book." And she's like, "Yeah, that's what everybody say when they meet me," right? And that's what it is, because everybody she meets, she says, "I'm just a little girl from Kansas. I am not a witch. I have no abilities, right? All I did is land in my house that came up as that." So basically, she kind of does not and refuses to acknowledge each and every compliment she's given, right? Each and every like compliment and like, understanding or anything people want to say nice to her, right? So she's a little girl. That's a story. You can say, "Lana, what is that all about?" Now I'm going to tell you about something called the imposter syndrome. What is the imposter syndrome? The imposter syndrome, I actually posted it in the, got it from Wikipedia, but you can read so much more. If you go to the Google it, they're going to give you lots of psychology explanation and stuff like that. I'm just going to give you a basic social explanation, okay? The imposter syndrome is about, a person who, let's say, has reached some promotion, has embarked on some additional or growing step in their life, and they you know, what happens once you reach a promotion? What happens? Everybody come up and congratulate you and say thank you. And you'd say, congratulations, you deserve it. And at that moment, the person is like, they know they deserve it. They remember they deserve it. That's what they've been working for. But at that moment, all they say is like, oh, thank you, but it's not a big deal. I'm just a regular worker, you know. And it's about people not fully acknowledging and accepting the social praise around them. Okay. The psychologist who discovered it was, I believe, in the 70s and the 80s. And when they originally coined that term, it's also known as the imposter syndrome, imposter phenomenon. They realized that what they saw the most is happening with females, right, with the women. And later on, it actually has been proven that it happens with men as well. But it's basically for people who start achieving some higher status of either A, people that they have never achieved in their life, and B, and this is important to note, that their parents have never achieved. Okay, this is the very first high status for them within their life, family system, ancestral system, anything you want to, okay? And that's the whole point, okay? And what I'm here to do is Vera came out with an amazing algorithm. Let's deal with that. As we, you know, we all have our own step in life that we're planning to embark on. You know, some of you are going for the instructor's course, some of you are not, and that's okay. That's not what it's about. It's about acknowledging and understanding that, you know, what I achieved in life is an acknowledgement, uh, is something that it's an achievement, and it's about accepting it and using it as a resource. So in order to do that, I am going to pin myself. I am going to change my camera. Any questions before I start drawing? Pin myself. I am going to change, pardon me. Give me a second. Somebody is asking me for the Zoom link. There you go. Frauke wants to join. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. It's cultural. It's cultural. Yeah, I agree. It is mostly cultural, right? Excuse me. Excuse me. The session is going to be, I would say, at least an hour, okay? But not too long. I'm planning to finish by about, let's say, 2:15, okay? So, is it guilt to accept compliments? So that's what we're going to go into. We're going to figure it out. But it is cultural. It is, like I said, definitely a family system, right? And I also noticed, that's one thing I want to bring into you from my personal experience, right? Let's say I have friends from different, what would say, social statuses, right? I have friends who are like homemakers, right? And then they start to embark and start going out. Once the kids grow up, they start gaining some occupation and they start working, right? And I have friends who are like PhDs, they're psychotherapists, you know, they're really out there, you know, and they achieve things. So the things I noticed is, yeah, Michelle. Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, that's the whole point of imposter syndrome, is that when you gain that and people start complimenting, you're like, huh, maybe they're mistaking. Maybe I'm not that. Are you sure that's who you thought I was? Not really. I'm just, you know, Dorothy from Kansas. You know, that's exactly what it is, belittling your achievements. So I noticed that also, something to keep in mind, and we're going to transfer and start drawing. But like I said, like I have a friend, she's a psychotherapist, she has a PhD, she's everything. Her self-esteem is great. She's amazing, you know, good friend of mine. She also draws Neurographica with me and everything. And then at one point, we were discussing something, and she came to me for, like, you know, coaching. I'm like, huh, interesting, because I know her. She's amazing. And she started telling me she wanted to open up a business. Now, keep that in mind. Her mother, remember how I said she has a PhD and intellectually she's quite highly achieved? She never has any self-doubt about that part. her mother is from intellectual background as well. She also has like a higher, not a PhD per se, but let's say a higher master's degree type of degree, diploma kind of thing, Yeah, and it's much more than self-esteem. That's exactly what it is. And so again, achievement within that field came easier to her. And also she was younger. So that's also important to note, right? When you're younger, like college age, 20s to 30s, things do come easier. Okay. After between 30s and 40s is when we start like settling down and becoming more, basically things change. Let's put it this way, right? Consciously wise. So when she started to open up a business, that's when she started to have self-doubt, because her mother, as great as she is in her achievement within the intellectual field, she has no achievement within the business field, okay? And now, why am I mentioning mother, not father? Because remember, she's a female. So in female, it's like the example of the female achievers within the family, okay? Not going much into the family constellations and that kind of things. Frauke, welcome, by the way. Just wanted to say hello to you. And that's why I mentioned that originally they only used that term for the females and said it only applies for women. Later on, I would say in the 2000s, when people started becoming more successful, right? Nowadays, we have much more people can become millionaires much easier than, let's say, 50 or 100 or 200 years ago, right? Men experience that too. And I believe, again, that's based on my personal insight and experience. It's based on the fact that whether your father has achieved, and we know men culturally, anthropologically, socially wise, have had a higher, a longer history and background of achieving social success than women, again, socially, anthropologically speaking, historically. So for them, it does come easier, right? And we know that it's, again, not going much into it, but you can read so many sociological researches about how females feel when they achieve, when they become managers and directors, and how men feel. Okay, it's a different experience. I am going to transfer my camera. Let's put this on the paper. Let's put all the terms. Wait 1 second. Okay. So what do I start with? Okay, I'm not putting a goal. You're welcome to put your own goal. I'm explaining to you, I want to do with you the general idea, the general explanation of the algorithm. Actually, I will put a goal, and I think we all know what the goal is. It's something I've been working for the last few days. And like I said, it's on my mind. So of course the goal is, my goal personally is, successful leading of the instructor's course in English, okay? So now, okay, what are we doing here, okay? Again, I'm not gonna take the 2 minutes. If you wanna do it, you can do it on your own. I just really feel like I wanna show you the algorithm and you can do this on your own further on, okay? The first thing we're gonna do is what I always teach to any of my clients, any of my students. We always put ourselves in, where are you in this picture, okay? And you are in the picture. Now we're gonna draw a circle in the middle. How big is the circle? The circle should not be too big. I would say it would be 1/3 of the picture, of the size of the paper. I have a smaller because I wanna make sure I finish the picture with you, but you may have a bigger one. So I would say like 1/3, okay? Like this. My circle will be like this. Okay, I need some space. It will be in the middle. It will be, I'm looking at it, what my perception, and pay attention to your perceptions. We know that's important in Neurographica. My perception, it's a pretty big circle, okay? You may look at it and say, it's not so big. The bigger would be like this, but this is the picture. You can call it big, you can call it medium. This is the kind of circle in relation to your paper sizes that I would like to explain to you that you should do, okay? Now, what are we doing? This is me, okay? What's happening around me? 1 second, is that, okay, my goal is successful leading. You see, I missed the important word, successful leading of the instructor course. Now, I'm looking around and I'm going to tell myself, and I'm listening and hearing what other people are telling me, okay? What other people are telling me. And what other people are telling me is that, Lana, you are an amazing Neurographica instructor, okay? And what am I saying? I'm saying, okay, this circle can be a bit bigger, maybe like this, okay? And I'm gonna say, thank you. And this is, I hear what other people are telling me, and I'm putting a reflection within myself. And when I'm telling myself, thank you, but you know, I just graduated, like I said this like a few minutes ago, 2018, only 3 years. I mean, I'm not that experienced. You know, there are people, and I know them personally, and they graduated in the first cohort in 2016 and in 2017. And, you know, they're much more experienced than me, and they know more, and they lead a lot of master classes, and they're truly, truly great instructors. Notice the size, okay? The reflection that you give to the outside, to the social acknowledgement, is smaller, okay? And then I'm going to tell you that somebody tells me, Lana, you're an amazing coach, right? I have clients who tell me, Lana, it's amazing. I love that you are my coach. And I kind of say, thank you, but you know, I have no coaching official background, right? Like my partner, Margarita Miller, she's actually a certified coach, right? She's an ICF, you know? And I'm not. I actually thought about doing it, maybe doing it, you know, I'm actually do through the institute, through Pavel's institute, who will be doing a similar, who's already doing a similar to the ICF kind of, you know, union, the professional gathering, but I'm not yet. You know, I'm not a professional coach. I have a psychology background, but I'm not a professional coach, you know. And then somebody told me and wrote to me, and they said it at the conference, you know, Monday and the previous one, Lana, you were an amazing translating. And actually, I just got, you know, a message from Pavel right before the session saying, Lana, amazing translation, thank you. Right away, as I'm saying that, honestly, anxiety. Whew. They say, what are you talking about? I'm not even a translator. I love translating. I love reading. I constantly, when I came to US, I would do that. I would take a book and like translate it from Russian into English, just for myself for fun. I'm not a translator. That's not my professional background. Are you kidding me? That's not what I do for a living. I couldn't possibly be this good. What are you talking about? And then, of course, there is that personal part of me where people tell me, Lana, you're an amazing mother, right? I just had family over for Passover, for the holidays, for like 10 days. And we were talking, and they're like, you're an amazing mother. You did this, you did that. And I said, thank you. But, you know, I don't know. Am I like, I just do regular stuff, you know? I do cooking with them. I try to cook homemade dinner for them. I try to give them attention. I try to read a story to my, you know, my 6-year-old who still enjoys that time, you know. Those of you who have older children, you know what I'm talking about. She still wants me to read stories to her. She knows how to read. For a few months, she's been covering the fact that she knows how to read because she enjoyed me reading to her. And I was like, okay, you know what? You don't have to. You can tell me the truth. I know you know how to read. So I'm just a regular mom, honestly. Not even a soccer mom, you know, I don't drive my kids to stuff, you know, I'm regular. I'm okay, just regular mom, okay? And this is what happens, and this is my picture. The outside circle, the social acknowledgement is so much bigger, but look what's happening. I close myself in a circle, and the reflection I have is a smaller circle. So that's something to pay attention within your drawing. This is smaller. And metaphorically, it also makes sense. This is smaller. So what am I going to do now, right? I'm going to tell you, how about this, huh? You're telling me this is smaller. So how about this? I'm just going to go like this, make a connection with each one of your reflection, right? Right? Connect it. And just make it bigger, Lana. What's the big deal, right? and make each circle as big as the one outside, right? Because remember, in order for us to actually feel the same as people feel, we're going to make it bigger, okay? But you still kind of stay within the circle, okay? I kind of went outside, but it's okay. I'm just going to fix it. Okay, and the same thing here, right? I should write this. This was the instructor, right? And this was the coaching part, right? And this was the translator part. And this was the mother part, right? Okay. The same thing with the coaching. I'm going to say, what's the big deal? And I'm trying now to look outside and say, why not? If they think I'm big enough, I can be big enough. And what am I doing? I'm going within the circle and I'm going to expand it. I'm going to make it bigger again. Okay. Again, going out of sight of the circle. Okay. Same thing with translation. I'm going to say, I think it's, yeah, why not? If people are saying it, may be good. Okay. So I'm trying to convince myself, basically. Okay. This is a regular way. This is how people would tell you, like, what's a big deal? Just don't pay attention to that inner voice, to that doubt. Just go ahead and believe, you can do things, right? Let's try to see if that works. Let's try to see if it's artificial kind of approach will help us, okay? And notice what's going to happen now, okay? And I'm going to increase the circle as well, okay? Okay. Okay. Now, look what's happening. Look inside yourself as you artificially increased yourself. Each circle is kind of overlapping, okay? And each circle is kind of like telling, you know what? I am good enough. I'm a good enough coach. I'm a good enough instructor. I'm a good enough mother. I'm a good enough translator. But as we do that, as we artificially inflate our, forgive me for that word, ego, whatever you want to, the way you pronounce it, as we artificially inflate our self-esteem, we notice that they actually fight with each other, okay? They actually compete. There's the word, I'm sorry, not fight, compete. Because that's what it is. It's a competition, right? This one is saying, I'm a better instructor than you or a mother. And I'm saying, oh, really? And I'm a better mother than you or a coach. I'm a better coach than you or a translator. As they compete within each other, what we don't have is harmony. We don't have unity. And that's what we're going to deal with. How about we deal with unity? And what are we doing? We're going to pinpoint what's behind all of these different competitions. Because if you know what I'm talking about, if you know psychology, anything about psychology, if you ever heard about Freud and ego, then you know that there's no different egos. There's one ego. And that's what it is. Let's bring him out. Let's get to know him. Let's say, hello. I am really that inner voice within you. That's really the catalyst for all of the other voices. And the one that says, not really, I'm not a good instructor. I'm not a good coach. I'm not a good translator. I'm not a good mother. Let's be honest here. You're not. Right? This is the person, bring it out, okay? This is that inner self that says you're none of that. And as this inner self, as that inner circle surfaces, it's good, okay? It gives us more anxiety, but it's good because we're gonna deal with it. We know that in Neurographica, anxiety is kind of a way you can turn an anxiety into a plus. How? Because you can take the anxiety and turn it into the ARL. You can work with your frustration, okay? You can work with your doubts and self-inhibitions. How do you work with it? We're going to do a catharsis. For those of you who don't know what catharsis is, give me a second. Take a piece of paper. The catharsis is something when we have a frustration, and you're going to have a circle now, right? You have a frustration. What you do is you put a marker down and you express that frustration through different ways. One way is by screaming, the actual physical expression. And another way is the by drawing a quick expression through the line, okay? I'm going to show it to you now, here and over there. Now, you're almost, I think all of you are on mute. If you're not, you're welcome to put if you want to. So do me a favor and do scream, because that's an important part of it. And this is what happened. Watch me doing it. Okay, really 1-2 seconds, okay, not more. It's not an ongoing thing, okay? It's just an expression of the frustration. And this is what we're gonna do. Try to express your quick frustration, not a long process, really doing it quickly, just getting it over with. 1, 2, 3, that's it, voila. You did the catharsis inside this middle circle. The next step we all know is going through the lines, rounding them, okay? Go through each line and round it out. While you're rounding out, you're actually repeating the line. I'm just giving you a bit of a technicality now. That's something that you usually would learn through the, during the basics course. But just for you to be able to complete this algorithm, we need to complete this part, okay? And of course, those of you who know, you do the reflection process here, the awareness practice, where you pay attention to how you feel, to what your body is telling you, as that would be a great way to transform. For now, just focus on the inside of that circle. Do not try to round outside, okay? Because the major part for you is to transform that inner catalyst, that inner sabotage, the main ego, the main sabotage that's provoking a catalyst for all the other sabotages. And remember, first and foremost, you breathe, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing is the way your body adjusts to the changes that you're bringing to the paper. Because as we know, Neurographic is a very deep method. It seems like all we're doing is doodling and drawing, right? And that's where the inhibition, the resistance, the ego is kind of fooled, right? All we do is just draw lines. But we know that metaphorically and associatively speaking, there's a lot of inner transformation here that works on a deep subconscious, okay? Just something for you to keep in mind. Voila, it doesn't take long, remember? Because it's a smaller circle. 2-3 minutes is all it takes. As soon as you transform this, okay? As soon as you transform this, as soon as you work with that inner self, I'm gonna go and start transforming all the other areas. And while transforming the other areas, this is what we're gonna do, okay? Because remember, as you transform this, what you did is you kind of transform a part of each and every single inner part of you that reacts to the outside, to the outer acknowledgement, okay? And let's start, you can go intuitively, you can say, oh, I wanna decide which one you wanna deal with first, okay? So I actually do wanna deal with being an instructor, right? And this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add the neural lines within this figure, this shape that I just created. Remember how I connected this shape to this? And this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna draw the neural lines from here and try to get to not just to the outer part, but the inner part, the part where we just transformed. That inner part where we did the catharsis and we did the rounding, okay? And we're doing the same thing here. Breathing in and breathing out. I would say about 2 to 3 lines, okay? Do the 2 through the neural lines and then do the rounding. And as you do the rounding, remember we're doing the reflection, and the reflection process, that self-coaching part would look like this. It's a conversation with yourself, right? That you say, other people are telling me I'm a great instructor. And inevitably, right, they start reacting and saying, yeah, but you just graduated 3 years ago. There are people who are, let's say even Vera Zhukova, she graduated the same year, and she's an amazing personality, right? She's very popular. She creates amazing stuff. She has a lot of students, and again, we're colleagues. I have no competition with her. She's Russian speaking. I am English speaking, and there is no like we're in different audience. So not something like I'm not envious of her. I look at her and I admire her, right? But it just my inner child is using that admiration as a way to kind of poke me in, right? And what am I saying? And I'm gonna say, maybe so, but really I think I achieved. I have been doing an instructor. I've been teaching the basics, right? Ever since I graduated. And I remember now that I have that video, the very first video I made in Neurographica. I believe that was the very first video in English about Neurographica, right? That was, if you look at the date, that really was. Nobody before me had a video that explained what Neurographica is, that explained the steps. I actually do the steps of the ARL in the most like basic way, as much as possible within the 2 hour, right? And I show people that video. I just recently, somebody was asking and I went to send them the link. That video has like 10 to 11,000 people viewing. Do you see what's happening? I'm bringing in some resources, and you can actually do that. You can actually take that, that resource that you just talked about, and I'm going to add it as a resource in the form of a circle within this area, okay? I'm going to say that's the circle. That's my video that has 10,000 or whatever, 11,000 people watched. Is that, and that's a proof, that's a physical, it's not like it seems to me that people are telling me you're good, but it's an actual proof. It's tangible, okay? It's what in science they call quantitative, proof, okay? You go and you see this many people watched it, people liked it, and people tell me, I have a colleague, she just graduated, she was an instructor, she learned the instructors last year. And we were talking, I did a supervision for her as part of the instructor's course. And she wrote to me, thank you. And she answered privately. She said, thank you, Lana, for that. And she asked me some question. I answered her. And then she wrote to me, she's like, oh, Lana, I just made that connection with you. I didn't realize that. And then I just realized that you are Lana Shalom. And I'm like, yeah, I am. That's my name. She's like, you don't believe it. I came to Neurographica because I watched that first video of yours. And as I watched that first video, that changed everything for me. She said, right away, I became interested. I started exploring it. I started researching it. And she said, and I got right away, I signed up for the instructor course. That was last year, 2020. And she's like, and now I became an instructor. And you know what? That was yeah. And she said, now I'm even coming up with my own courses. And she's like, oh, it's so amazing. I didn't realize, but she said, that's so nice that I'm meeting you in person. Like, and I was like reading it. And I'm like, it's so interesting. She was from like Latvia, and I was like surprised, I would think like Russian speaking, but again, she's from Latvia, so they speak different language. It's not, Russian is not their native language. The people usually who live there, they do know Russian and they know English well. And I was like, interesting. So people, even, bilingual people would watch my Neurographic. And that was like kind of stuck me, right? Notice what's happening. I added another resource now, right? The personal account of somebody who was influenced. And now I'm going deeper within myself as I'm doing the rounding and continuing that self-coaching, that self-conversation, right? Those of you who passed the basic course, you know what I'm talking about, because that's what we learn in the basics course, how to do that self-coaching through the reflection process. And then I'm saying, so I notice also people sign up for my courses, so I must be good, and I have people telling me, and I have people signing up for my other courses, and people wrote to me that since I found out you're teaching the instructor course, I am decided I'm going to become an instructor. I'm going to go and become, learn to become an instructor. And I remember getting it first, and I was like, oh, so interesting. I would think people want to go learn Neurographica, and when people write that to me was like, wow, interesting. So that's what it is. Again, as as I get to the middle, to the center of it all, I notice that don't forget to add those circles, okay? And you can add more circles. Give yourself resources. When it comes to resources, my students know what I say. I say it's like money. The more, the better. You know, don't be stingy. Just put in those resources. Give yourself circles. Circles are the best resources when it comes to self-doubt, inhibition, any of that. Circle is a miracle. It's a comfort. It's a care. Circle is a mommy that will give you a hug, right? They'll come and say, no matter how old you are, right? You go to your mom and she gives you a hug, right? And that's what it is, right? And I'll tell you, like, I look at this now and I feel so much more comfortable. I do feel like, oh, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense that that I'm going to be teaching the instructor's course. And as I rounded everything, like I said, if you feel you need more resources, add more resources. And two ways to deal with resources. Resources can be resources that you don't necessarily have a name for them, right? You can just say, it's just a resource. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like this is my resource. And they're like a present, right? When you get presents on your birthday, like children get presents on birthdays, like lots of presents, right? And I remember doing that with my kids, right? I wouldn't open them up right away. What would you do? Is like, what is a child to do with 10 toys at the same day? Like a waste of it, a waste of the surprise and the newness and everything, right? And I would hide the toys, and the children would open it like every 2-3 days, and I feel like, yeah, that's what it is. And as I said that about children, I realized one more resource I want to bring. That's my background. That's my education background, right? I worked in education for 20 years, and I truly love doing what I did. I worked with children. I worked in special education. I did bilingual education. As I said, bilingual education. I felt like, I do want to remember that resource that I added. I'm going to draw a neural line from that resource into the part over here. You notice what I'm going? That self-doubt of mine that dealt with people telling me I was a good translator. Okay. And I was like, let me extend that. I do have a background in bilingual education. I have a certification. I'm a certified bilingual educator. And I'm used to teaching in bilingual field. I do Russian teaching, I do English teaching, everything in between. So yeah, as you add resources, you will notice that you will fill up, you will get that extra energy that will come to you, okay?
Yes.
You can do, somebody wanted to ask something?
No, thank you.
Okay, and as I do that, what you can do actually, can everybody see me and hear me? It just told me my internet is unstable. We're good?
Yeah. Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you. And 1 second. Let me just see if there's anybody asking any questions. Nobody. And as what you can do is you can continue doing the neural lines, but at right now where I am, I feel like all those resources that I brought in, I actually want to color them. I want to bring in that energy, that emotional energy of the color, because we know color is emotion. We express our emotions with color. If we're talking about, silent expression of the excitement or happiness is color, okay? Of any emotion is color, right? And as I add color, and you're going to notice the same thing with you, let me know if it's different, but most of the time I know it's like that. As you add color to your emotions, you're going to notice how you're going to feel better. You're going to breathe better. It will give you that specific thing. Sorry for being redundant, but it will give you that resource that I'm talking about, okay? That fulfillment, that energy within you that tells you, yeah, that's what it is. Acknowledgement. I can do this. I do have what it takes to teach the instructor's course, successfully. I do have what it takes to be a good instructor, and that's what it is, right? And like I said, give yourself that acknowledgement, color it in. I'm inviting you to do this again. If you like coloring, you want to go on to the next one, you're welcome to, but go ahead, add color. That will kind of, you know what happens when you add color now? It will kind of emphasize, it will kind of like stabilize those resources that you just brought in. When you add color to them, what happens? Look what happened. When you don't color them, they're kind of like empty and it feels like they're gonna, it's like they're here, but they're not really here. You know what I mean? Like you see them, now you see them, now you don't. You know, Neurographica picture is like that, right? Like my daughter calls it. I have a teenager daughter and she says psychedelic, you know, like now it's one of those illusional pictures, right? Now you see them, now you don't, right? Supposedly this is a circle, but maybe it's not. Maybe I can extend a neural line and turn it into something else. Once I add a color, what I do with this is I kind of like confirm, there is that word, confirm. You know, it's like bringing it down. It's like making it more stable. I'm saying, yeah, you are that resource of mine, okay? And once you do that, guess what? That resource is not lost anymore. That circle will not get illusioned out. You know, it will not turn into something else. You're making it nice and stable and what's the word? Concrete. There you go. Okay. Okay. There you go. So yeah, there you go. And one more here. I was looking for this pencil. It came just at the right time. Okay. I'm not coloring the big thing yet. I'm not ready, but I did color all the resources. Okay. You may not be ready to color those two resources yet. Remember, go with what you learn to experience, learn to listen to your body, to that something we call in a regular language intuition, to that something inside of you, to that unconscious or subconscious part of you that will tell you when you're ready to go further, okay? Don't connect it yet. We're not there in the picture. We will do it after we will confirm all of them, okay? And let's continue. What would be the next step, right? The next step would be, like I said, I think I'm going to deal, I'm thinking, no, I want to do the coaching next one, okay? Like I said, the coaching is the next, right? Like I have clients, I have people who are coming, and a few weeks ago, actually, I would say like maybe more than a few weeks, maybe a month ago, I actually made a drawing about it in one of the sessions. I said, I think I'm starting to think that I want to start getting coaching, you know, doing coaching on a more regular basis. Boo, that day I got a PM from one of my students. She's like, can you do coaching for me? And I was like, huh. So it really does work, huh? And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. As soon as I put it out there in the universe, right? As soon as I made an intention, right? Those of you who know the law of attraction know what I'm talking about. As soon as you make that intention, you send it out, it starts to manifest. Remember what we're doing now, drawing the neural lines, connecting this part of people, you know, the client who said, she started taking, and she's like, Lana, it's amazing. Like she draws and she said, as soon as I draw with you, I start seeing the changes within my life taking place. Okay. And first, when one person said, I was like, okay, coincidence. Why not? Just a coincidence. She's just a good artist, I think. She just knows Neurographica well. And then she told me the second session and the third. And then somebody else joined my coaching clientele base. And they started telling me the same thing. And I'm like, huh. So maybe there is something within it. Okay. And what you're doing here when you draw the line, remember, you are repeating, you are reminding yourself all of that stuff, you know, that people are telling you, all of that social acknowledgement, okay? Social acknowledgement is you are a great coach. You can lead good sessions. You do have that energy. You know how to like feel the energy. And, you know, as I say that, I do agree with that because that happens even within the session, even within like close friends of mine. I'm not even talking about the family members, but I do have that, you know what I'm talking about, that feel, the energy feel kind of thing, you know, where I would think about something and that person would either call me And as I say that, I remembered, people call like a psychic and a medium. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not a psychic or a medium. But as I said that, it's so funny, just that memory came to me. My mother used to be like that. She would have a dream about something and she would wake up, and that day she would like get some good news or something, like where um whatever she dreamt, like she don't remember, like when she dreamt about my cousin at one point, and then she was like, she woke up and she's like, oh, interesting, I dreamt about her. It's like, why? And that day she would like get the news that she got engaged or something, like kind of like a premonition kind of thing. It was so interesting when I grew up and my mother would talk about it, me being growing up in a very like, logical style, right? The Western style of thinking. I would be like, okay, mom, it's just a coincidence, okay? And as I grew up, I started realizing the same thing. I would have a dream about like somebody, my daughter, or like some kind of, even a friend, right? I had a dream about a friend, something, and then she called me and she's like, oh, something like happened. I got the best news, like my business got approved or something. And I was like, huh, wondering if that was some kind of premonition dreaming, right? And I was like, I do have that energy. So I'm going to start, as I added the neural lines and did the rounding. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding the resources, right? So one resource that I mentioned, right, was my mother. That's a humongous resource, as those of you who know. And it's so interesting, by the way, this is the very first time I remember that story, that I would actually like not acknowledge, pay attention to what's happening, not acknowledge that fact that that's something that I would have hereditary, right? My mother had that, and I do have that too. Like I do get premonition dreams about something, and thank God it's mostly good things, And yeah, and I was like, oh, I like that ability to feel the energy field of people around you. Okay. And I'm going to put it in as a resource. Okay. My mother had it. It's hereditary. It's a family system, acknowledgement of your family, of your ancestors, of your family, of your parents. And as soon as you acknowledge, you can do gratitude practice and say thank you, As soon as you do the gratitude, you will accept the energy, that resource. What we call energy is actually a resource. You resource from your ancestors, right? Because my mother didn't get it from nowhere, right? She probably got it from her grandmother. Trying to remember my grandmother. Her mother was not. No, she actually had that too. Now that I remember, it's so interesting. I never, that's what happens, right? You start embarking on some journey and you're like, oh, never dealt with that part of my life, right? But that's what it is when we grow up in the Western type of thinking where everything is logical. And that's what children do, right? They go to school and they're taught to think scientifically. And that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's absolutely right and it should be done that way. But then it's underestimated all the, the energy, the spirituality, whatever you want to name it, a different kind of acknowledgement that the people can, different type of learning, different type of abilities that people have, right? So to me, it actually took me quite some time. My husband actually, he's a quantum touch healer, right? And when I met him, he was telling me about something about healing, and I was like, yeah, sure. So what do you do for a living, right? And he would be like, back then he was a science programmer. But yeah, I would be like, sure, healing, schmealing, whatever. Let's just talk about, like something specific. What's your high education? And, very logical, and that's keeping in mind that I'm a very sensitive person, I'm a very spiritual person, extremely so, right? That's part of what I work with. But it's interesting to know that, as I started doing Neurographica more and started becoming more, of a, first you become spiritual, first you accept your spirituality, and then you start seeing how can you connect being a spiritual person and living in the world, being a physical human being, right? Remember, that's why I always talk about that reflection process. Bring in your body. What do I feel? Constantly ask yourself, what do I feel? So important to bring in the body within the process, okay? Because that's a huge amount of transformation occurring, okay? And now I'm gonna put in the color because I see all of those circles of mine and they're disappearing because, Neurographica, they can't tend to disappear. So I'm like, I don't want to lose these resources. I'm gonna add that color to confirm them, to stabilize them, to make them more concrete. There you go. There is that circle, okay? Don't want to lose it. I don't want it to disappear from my side, okay? And I remember when I started doing Neurographica, my husband actually went back and he started going back to that whole healing thing he was telling me about. Like, I think now when later, like what I was telling him now, I started telling him about Reiki, and all that stuff. He's like, oh, that's what I was doing. Because before he would tell me that somebody taught him how to heal people through hands and everything. But he's like, oh, I think that's what happened when 20 or 30 years ago, when I was, he used to live in Moscow. He's like, when I lived in Moscow, that's what it was. It sounds like it was Reiki, that people didn't call it Reiki, And I was like, huh. And then he started doing something called quantum healing, which is like healing through the hands, which is extremely, extremely amazing. Okay. But that's what it is. I think when I started kind of going back to that whole notion that, it's okay to be a spiritual person and try or not try and actually work on combining that spirituality with the physical aspect of who you are, And as soon as you start acknowledging that, that's when it starts kicking in, on different aspects. Like I said, your field starts kind of, pardon me that word, like I'm trying to think not to say the word vibrating, but in a way, like the field starts feeling, having that essence, that energy within them that will bring you to understand that, what you do is like ripples effect, right? You start something and then it affects and it brings in the changes within other people, right? And I was like, yeah, talking about coaching, I just realized that would be another I want to bring in that I do advanced Ho'oponopono and I love it, so much love it, It's one of my favorite techniques that I did, I did that mandala of Ho'oponopono mandala the other day. So effective. We were like, oh, wow, this was so effective. It's such an amazing, amazing method. And again, all of those methods combined with each other becomes like a super, like powerful technique that you start using and you start understanding that, yeah, it works. Everything works, believing, working, understanding, transformation works, okay? I feel like I want to color this, but you know what? I'm going to give myself time until I'm so sure that I want to color it. Like, I feel like maybe I should color it, but it's not like I really yearn to color it. So, excuse me, I'm going to hold off. Yes, Stella. Yeah, sorry, guys. It seems like it's going further. I'm sorry. I said it's going to be 2:15. I told you about the field working, meeting postponed. Oh, this is hilarious. The best proof out there, right? Your intention is working. But how about maybe 15, 20 more minutes? Sorry, if you need to go. And you can, of course, always watch it in recording. This will be in recording. I will be doing it. Okay. What am I doing next? I am going to the next one. And I'm thinking whether I want to go to this one or this one. I'm kind of like wondering, probably the translator. Okay. I kind of have already one line that kind of went through. And remember I told you my bilingual education. So over here, you always start with lines first, okay? Start with your lines, okay? Start with the lines, and I promise you, even if nothing comes to your mind, you're like, I'm not sure how I'm good at this, right? You don't even remember exactly what people are telling you. Draw the neural line, the neural lines that neurons catalyst will do the job. It will start the work, okay? Okay. Remember, try to do when you do the line, don't just stop at this inner circle that was originally, but rather go to the deep, right? That cell. I'm going to call it, pardon me for that biological reference, but it's a cell, right? It's that middle, that atom of who you are, ATOM, okay? ATOM, yeah, atom, okay? That nuclear, right? And as I said that, I remembered all the biology classes I took, okay? So go through the neural lines, go and connect yourself, okay? Breathing in and breathing out as you do connecting, okay? You will do the reminiscent and bringing in the resource when you do the rounding, but when you do the neural lines, do breathe in and breathe out. Allow your body to bring in, you know, when you breathe, your brain kind of expands. It gives it, you kind of give the oxygen, you know, you bring in the bloodstream. And when you do conscious breathing, it has been proven, right? And we all know it works. That's why meditation works. Conscious breathing brings, you know, conscious awareness of everything, you know, the blood flow. Excuse me again. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like doing that, Miriam. Absolutely. I felt like I said, I feel like I want to color the because as I color each resource, I want to explain this to you, see if it reflects in you. But that's how it works for me. As I color each resource, that resource become extremely effective within me, and I have the resources, so to say. I do feel like it's okay for me to go to the next section. Because before, remember when the first time I did it, before I colored it in, I didn't feel like I'm ready to go to the next section. I felt like I didn't get enough yet here, you know, I didn't gather enough strength at this level to go further. As I add color, but remember, yeah, I am an emotional person. So to me, colors resonate. Now, remember that some of you may be more, you know, mental people, more like, you know, reasoning and logic, you know. You would need, what you can do, by the way, you can emphasize not with color, you can emphasize with your line, okay? Go ahead and make some of your resources, what? Thicker. Voila, okay? Once you make it thicker, guess what happens? It emphasizes, it really does emphasize your resources, and your brain starts seeing it. To me, the color is important. I need to see the color for my brain to acknowledge. Remember how I said they were like losing, they were like kind of disappearing within each other? I felt like I need to add color. Those of you who have a more attachment to the graphical, you know, those of you who are more graphical within your picture, like Pavel, you've seen his pictures. He's so graphical, right? I remember in the beginning, I sent him one of my pictures. He asked me, he's like, can you show me how you do this algorithm? I sent him a picture. I just started using the oil pastels, and with oil pastels, if you know what I mean, you can put a lot of them. And what the oil pastels do, they cover up your graphics. And the problem with that is later on, you cannot go and just draw with your markers again, because the oil pastels kind of close it up for you, you know, they like seal it up. And I sent him a picture, I didn't realize it at the time, that was very kind of, the graphic was covered with a color. And you couldn't see I did the neuro quality, the one of the specialist algorithm. And he sent it back to me. He's like, Lana, what's going on with the lines here? What happened to all the lines? What is the graphical part of the picture? And I was like, didn't think of it. I colored it. So to me, you know, that was like in the beginning, I'm telling you. To me, that was like, okay, I did the part. I went through all the steps, but that's what and that's definitely reflecting in my teaching now, right? And I teach that when you look at the picture at the very end, it should be, you know, your lines should not be disappearing just because you add color, okay? So be careful, be aware, be conscious of both parts, the graphical part and the color part, okay? But yeah, I'm gonna go back now and round everything out. And again, we're gonna have the reflection process that will take us to that self-coaching, some self-conversation, you know. I call it the best person to talk to, you know, the most intelligent person to talk to, right? Myself, right? And by the way, as soon as I said that, this part said, huh, right? And I'm like, okay, we'll deal with you later. But breathing in and breathing out. What is the body part that I experience? And the body part that I'm experiencing is actually my hands. I'm very tense. I just felt this hand very tensely. And then I say breathing in and breathing out. What is the, what would be the word? What is the emotion I'm experiencing? And I realized that the emotion I'm experiencing is the sadness would be the word. See, did you notice I didn't answer right away? I had to breathing in and out, and that's an important part. That's why I tell you, always do breathing in and out in order to hear yourself, okay? Breathing in and out, what is that thought that's wanting to come out? And the thought is a translation. What makes you think you are a good translator, right? And I'm thinking people told me it was a good translation. And I realized where it's coming from. I think it would be an amazing, and I think I'm going to do that, right? Right now, my emphasis is the instructor's course. The next thing I'm doing is the book. I need to publish the book. I need to get somebody to read the book. We need to get an editor. We spoke to Pavel already. He said, let's get an independent editor who will read the book and edit it as necessary for the publishing, right? Because he said, you are, you know, you did a great job translating, but he says, I don't know English well enough to know. And remember, your first language is not English. So we want to make sure that it's good. And I was like, it makes sense, you know, every single book, whether it's a serious psychology book like Neurographica, you know, some people would argue saying it's an art book because it does have a lot of pictures, but any book needs an editing, right? And I'm like, that makes sense, you know, that would be, I guess, not an acknowledgement of my skills as a translator. You know, I'm not a professional translator. I did as much as I could, but I know, first of all, I am a thorough reader. And as I say that, I'm going to bring it in as a resource. I am a bookworm, okay? I used to do that all the time. When I was a child, all my aunts and uncles would know that's what I do. I am a book reader. My aunt would say, wait a minute, don't take that book yet. I need you to do this and this and that, right? My mom would say that. They're like, okay, don't go reading yet. And one of my daughters is like that. She just takes a book and I call her and she just, hello, Rachel, where are you? And she's reading a book. She's right next to me, but she doesn't hear me, right? And that's a skill because it gave me some skills that now I can utilize. First of all, language, right? Yes, I'm not a native speaker. I was 16 when I came to America. I'll be honest with you, I did learn English and I realized that much later, I am a language people, you know? I would go to any country, give me a week, and I can speak that language. When I was younger, that would go much faster than, of course, now. But I would pick up languages very, very easily. Okay. And as I say that, I realize that has to do with that energy thing that we were talking about, right? The fact that I can easily what would be the word? Easily bring in and work to the energies. And look what I'm going to do. I'm going to connect this part with this part because I feel like they're connected with each other, right? And I'm going to acknowledge that connection by just going through the neural lines and just kind of making that neural line kind of thicker. Even if you don't see it, it becomes thicker because you are kind of establishing that connection. And I'm like, yes. And so yeah, my reading and my language abilities definitely play a part in it, you know. And I remember when we just arrived, I would do a lot of translations for my mother. And I remember learning that when you translate, you know, a movie or when you translate a movie, translating words does not make sense. You need to translate meanings, okay? The meaning is the important part. And somebody just told me that, you know, how on YouTube now you can get CCs. You can do CC translation for almost most of my videos. Somebody wrote to me and said, Lana, thank you for putting a translation on your video. I'm like, I did. I didn't do any translation on my video. And I went on my video that she sent me and I clicked on it. Apparently, YouTube does automatically CC now. And I'm like, huh. And I was like so surprised. And I'm like, oh, so my videos are now automatically captioned. That is so amazing. As a student of mine, she's from Dubai, you know, her native language is Arabic. And I was like, amazing. And, but I noticed, right? So I started watching and started to think, I noticed that they translate the words, but they don't translate the meaning of the phrases. So that's something to keep in mind. Miriam, you asked the question, can you do more than 4 parts of this? Yes, you mean 4 circles, like 1, 2, 3, 4? You don't talk about the resources within, right? You mean the outer parts. Yes, I did 4 just for the purpose of this explanation to you. Absolutely, you can have bigger paper. You do 5, 6, 7, 8, you know. I actually do that within my coaching group drawing, where we just cover ourselves. And it also depends on the time. You can, yeah, basically the answer is absolutely yes. I just did this as an example. Okay, I did the rounding, I added the resources, I want to add the color. And what am I doing next? I am, what did I want to tell you? Yep, yeah, and it's interesting, right? And as I remember that, by the way, remember I just told you about my mother, I would translate to her when you know, she just arrived in America. I would know English. I learned what I did and that was the fascination. I was like, huh. About a half a year before when we found out for sure we're immigrating to America, you know, we received the word from the consulate that we received the word that we can do the immigration. And so my mother is like, okay, go ahead, take a book now and learn English. And I was like, okay, but I know English from school. She's like, yeah, the regular people know English from school. Like, you know how you learn a foreign language in school, right? It's not something practical. And she gave me a book that was actually, I found out later, it's one of the most famous book about learning, self-learning books, you know, how to speak the English. Alexandra Bone, she was, later on I found out that she was a famous, she was like, people actually learned English, not just me. So that's what I did for half a year. I stayed with my grandmother, I took care of my grandmother, and I learned English on my own. Just opened the book, memorized it, just whatever, why not? I was bored, right? And what happens, I come to America, right? The second day I'm arriving, I have uncle here who lives here, I have my cousins. And, you know, if my uncle and my aunt speak Russian, then my cousins, what did they do? They speak English. They were born here. They're Americans. And I noticed that, you know, they speak Russian to us. The next day I'm sitting and I noticed they're talking to each other. And you can imagine my surprise when I was like, I actually understand everything they're saying. Huh. It was like, you know, like that magical moment. It was like going back to you know, Wizard of Oz when Dorothy's like, oh, my dog can speak now, right? And I remember he's like, oh, I can understand what they're talking about. Like, it's like so interesting. That was like such a interesting part for me. And talking about Wizard of Oz, my mother, I remember, actually learned English by reading Wizard of Oz, because remember I said we had the similar books in Russian. It was named a bit different, right? Different names of the characters. But I remember her reading it and she felt like so connection because she kind of knew the plot. And it was an easy book to read because it's a children's book. And that's how she learned English. I remember that part. I was like, there's that connection. And as I say that, talking about my mother brings me to the fact that I am, people tell me, an amazing mother. Okay. What am I doing? Connecting that part of me. And did you notice that, by the way? I noticed that right away. And I'm like, this circle is the biggest, bigger than any other one, right? That makes sense, you know. Thank God I have 5 kids, thank God. May they always be happy and healthy, you know. And I am an educator. Those of you who are educators or who know educators, you know what that means when you do that with children, right? When you are an educator and you have children, you basically become a mother educator, right? And I was a mother educator, I would use all my educational background to make sure my children are like well brought up, all those hip progressive educational ideas. My children would, be the ones to experience it in the best possible way. I do mean it in a good way. You know, when I was when with my first child, I remember reading books about early developing, not those books where you teach your children to read when they're 2 years old. That's not what I'm talking about, but rather the abilities, talking about it, I just realized the neuro abilities, right? The brain development, right? How before the age of 3, I read that book by Musari Buku, the Japanese. He was one of the first ones who say that before the age of 3, the development of the brain is the most optimal. That's where the children should be exposed to the most variety of experiences. Okay. And I definitely did that, sensory experience, all of that. So important for the children, and as I was an early educator, a special educator, um, I utilize that quite a lot within my professional practice. I have a colleague who's a friend of mine. She's not a colleague, but she's originally she started by being, one of, not a supervisor, but basically we worked within an agency working with the children. And then she became a dear friend of mine. She asked me once, she said, Lana, why did you stop doing this? Why did you stop, being a special educator? Because she said, and I know it's true, she said, you were like one of the best within the agency. And people still call and say, I remember having her for my older child. Can I have her for my younger child? And I told her no, but I felt like I needed a change. I felt like I want to do something else. I'm done with the special education. I felt like everything I could achieve, those of you who know the 5 elements, I felt like I reached the water. It was time for me to move on. And I wanted to go back into what I started. My first education was psychology, after all. It wasn't education. I fell into education when I started as a psych major. I started working with autistic children. At that point, later on, it became stricter. But when I started in the 98, I believe, they would allow psych majors to work with children. And that's what I did. Oh, yeah, honey. Bye, Michelle. Okay. And that's interesting. Note my as I'm talking about my background with psychology, I actually felt that I'm like, woo, let's go here to where it says coaching, connection to the coaching, connection to the psychology background of Neurographica, right? Everything plays a part. And then I said, I felt like this is it. I'm done growing within this field and I need to do something else. And I went back to what I wanted to do originally, working with adults, working with adults, teaching adults, doing psychology. And I love the fact that I found Neurographica. And Neurographica gives me a chance to do so many things. It's, I actually practice Neurographica with my children because I think it's such a great thing to do. I was talking to somebody about it. I started designing a course, the children's course, teaching children Neurographica, which I think, wouldn't that be fabulous, right? They have yoga for children and meditation for children. Wouldn't it be amazing to have Neurographica for children? Wouldn't it be amazing if children had learned how to do Neurographic? If children would learn how to draw the neural lines or something similar to neural lines. And talking about that, that's an interesting part. I don't know how many of you know that. Do you know what was the catalyst? One of the major catalysts. I'm sure some of you heard that story about the airplane, how Pavel discovered Neurographica. But do you know what was one of the major catalysts? When Pavel talks about the creation of Neurographica, whom does he account to? His daughter. He has I believe she's 11 this year. He has an 11-year-old daughter. And he says that when she was born, gave him a new meaning in life. And he realized that he wants to bring in something amazing so that her world would be, just as amazing as she is. And he always talks about it. He talks about Neurographica being, that's something that he attributes to the birth of her daughter. And he talks about teaching his daughter and like teaching her Neurographica as she was little. And he says it's interesting to know that the way she develops is interesting, much, like it makes a difference. He notices that within her development of herself, of who she is as a human being, as a child, and he, of course, the relationship with her, he says, whoa, different, like completely different than, when you have a relationship. He works on that, he talks about it, and it's something interesting to note. And of course, most of you seen Antonia and you see how it is, it definitely evolves you as a person. That I definitely want to say, that Neurographica does evolve you as a person, okay? Not just in a professional sense, not just even with yourself, but, with people who are the closest to you, your family, your children, I want to say that, yeah, I'm acknowledging, I put in so many resources. I do acknowledge the fact that I am a great mother. I used to homeschool my children. And my older children still remember it as the best time of their life. No need to get up early in the morning and go to school. A very progressive approach to education. And it was a different time in my life. And I remember that and I loved it, okay? So as we're finishing up, okay, what are we doing? Quickly adding color first. Acknowledging, accepting, as you add color, as you make them more stable, more confirmed, what do? You bring them in. You acknowledge them within you. Remember those resources that you use as building blocks? That's what we can use it, right? As building blocks. That's exactly what they do. They're building blocks within you, right? And pay attention to what's happening as you add the color first, because that will change your perception. That will change what your picture was before and what you see in your picture now. That's something to pay attention to. Remember, we learned that in the basics course. The reflection process is so important. It's so significant, okay? It's something that, Pavel has perfected. He added, used to be a 3-point reference. Now we do a 4-point reference. And that's something that I kind of, when he did that, I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That's what we do when we do metaphoric cards, right? We first pay attention to what we see, and then we start reflecting, what do I feel? What is the body part that's reacting out? And what do I want to bring in, kind of thing, right? What is that blue? I'm looking for nice, there's a favorite color of mine. There it is, the blue color. Oh, I brought it in. Okay, let me add it. Gives it that metallic, but bring in as many resources within each one of your sides as possible. Like I said, voila. Okay, beautiful. What are we doing next? Look at your picture. Look how evolved it looks. Look what's changed. And now, right now, pay attention to that circle of yours. Remember that little circle that you transformed? First and foremost, I have no anxiety about it whatsoever. What do I want to do with this circle? It's still distinguishable. What am I doing? Remember what we're doing? We're dissolving it, right? Again, that's something that we learned during the basics course, right? The very first step. That's why people ask me, like, what's the point of taking the course? You can just watch one of those open new YouTube videos. I say, yes, you really can. It's true. You can. You can get away with watching YouTube videos for quite some time until you start understanding that in order to actually bring in powerful transformations that are long lasting, and there's that important word, long lasting transformations. Because, and I don't know how many of you know, there is, some of you may know that already. Some of you may not, but NeuroGraphica, just like everything else, has beginner's luck. Okay. When you start drawing NeuroGraphica, you start noticing that things actually come true. Okay. Whatever you reach, the goal, it comes true. It happens. You're like magic. Okay. I remember when I was in 2018, that's what my colleagues would advertise NeuroGraphica as that magical tool. Come and learn. And then Pavel, started talking about be careful when you say magical, because he wanted to bring in the fact that NeuroGraphic is a scientific tool. And he says, like, if you go to a psychologist and you talk about magic, they will look at you like, should I be prescribing you some pills, And but that's called beginner's luck, and we all know that happens, right? Every single integrative method you learn in the beginning, it really works. And then something called the resistance turns on, and that's when you need to know. So it's not about things happening to you. Things will happen to you. You will have outcomes to your goals, but it's really about what you get staying there. It's about consistency, learning to consistently do it, learning how to overcome your resistance, is what you would want to learn the NeuroGraphica deeply for. Okay. So absolutely. Yeah. I advise everybody to take. Okay. Look what happens as I am, I did neural lines, and look what happened. Remember that little tiny circle of mine? It dissolved. And as a result, this circle came true. This big circle, you grew, you became bigger, you became so fulfilled. Look at all of those resources within you. That's who you are now. Okay. And what are you going to do? Add a color, expand. Okay. Add the color, and remember, you may feel like you want to add that color to that circle that originally was. Remember that frustration, the ego circle? Try not to do that, because remember, we want to dissolve that circle. We don't want to bring it out. So I would say, like, even why not do the emphasis part here and just bring it out here? You know what I'm going to do? Yay, I can share with you. I got new markers yesterday, so that's what I'm going to use, okay? Ordered new markers on Amazon, so we're going to try them out. How about, I'm thinking, here. I'm going to bring out resources. I don't want to bring out the circle because it will remind me of that ego. It will remind me of that frustration. I'm doing the opposite. I'm going to bring out the resources that will dissolve the circle, that will not remind me that there once was originally this circle, okay? That's what I'm doing. I'm going to bring out the circle, so I'm making it thicker. Do you notice what I'm doing? Okay, hold on. Okay, and what I'm going to do next is, don't forget to go around and just round it out, okay? Round it out. Make sure you do round it out. Breathing in and breathing out. Round it out. Breathing in and breathing out. There you go. Round it out, and we acknowledge it, and we start noticing what is the relationship. As you are rounding out, you start noticing how these resources are interacting with other resources, with other shapes and symbols, and whatever it is within your picture. Okay. Breathing in and breathing out. Remember, rounding out, reflection process, breathing in, do that, okay? It's so important to allow your body to catch up to the important transformations that are occurring within yourself, okay? And remember what the next part is. I'm going to fill it up with color. Color. Add the color to those shapes. Fill it up. Add the necessary ways. You brought it out graphically. Now add the color. Okay. I'm going to do something that some of you know I like to do. I'm going to bring out some nice big shape within because I feel like I need a big shape here. I feel like there's a lot of tiny little resources, but I want to, and I even know what that shape is. It's within me. I know what it is. Some of you may even guess what it is. It's not a circle, but something close to the circle, right? And you can do it that. You can first try it with your finger and see how it goes. Okay, yeah, I feel like I'm going to bring out that oval. Okay, again, that's what it is. Resources, more resources, the more the better, like I said. Breathing in and breathing out as you go through the lines and round out all the created angles. Okay. Yeah, bye, Bridget. Bye, honey. Okay. And we're almost done. Okay, what we're gonna do now is just, we're done, guys, okay? Just kind of finishing up. The revelation that you will get now is that this is a revelation that I want to bring at the end. You see how big you are? You are bigger than this circle and this circle and this circle and this circle. You're a combination of all of it, okay? So as you start feeling that way, you will start, acknowledging the fact that, all those stuff that people are telling you are your achievements, you're at the part, and that's what's going to happen, what we're going to do now, okay? I'm going to add a color to this outer edge, right? Look at this. And I'm going to connect it to this part, okay? Connected, that's important to connect it, even though your different resources are colorful, do add a general color to here, okay? You're welcome, okay. I'm glad, okay. Okay. And go intuitively with whatever side, whatever aspect of you want to color, whatever color, okay? Completely intuitive. Like I did this, now I feel like doing this. Absolutely. That's what it is, okay? Connect. Make sure you connect, not just with the neural lines. Remember, we talked about it, not just graphical connection, but colorful, emotionally connect yourself. Connect yourself to that cell. Remember, I said that atom, ATOM, of who you are, okay? And mix it in. And start noticing that color-wise, okay? I'm going to add something that we all know we need to add, which is the field line, okay? We'll do it later, okay, fine. I'm going to bring in the purple, okay? But I'll explain to you what's happening. I feel like I want to add oil pastels. But once you add oil pastels, it's going to be very hard to draw on top of it. So keeping that in mind, I need to add the field lines. And remember, those of you who are starting to work with oil pastels, I need to add field lines before I add the oil pastels, okay? That's reality I need to deal with, okay? But let me add this color. Add it to yourself, and you see yourself filling up with colors. And the important part is to notice the synthesis, how those colors are interacting with each other and forming something new, something different, something of who you are. You are, and this is a realization you come to. You are a combination of all of this part. You are bigger than each part separately. You are a synthesis, and there's that word I want to bring in. You are a synthesis of all of those parts separately, okay? Just something for you to keep in mind, something for you to understand, to bring it in within yourself. I need that orange color, okay? My coaching, I'm doing orange, okay? This is so funny. As I did the purple on the mother, I realized that, I should have do the purple. It's more of a coaching thing. And now I'm putting orange in the coaching. And I'm like, I think that belongs more within the mother area, right? But you know what? I learned to trust my intuition, and I know I may not understand this now, but maybe at the end, maybe a bit later, I will get the understanding of why intuitively I chose to color this purple, this is purple, and this is orange. And they are intermixed, right? You know, orange is a creativity color, right? Chakra wise, or even, you know, like the color of the fire element, right? Within the 5 elements. And it's creativity, it's, oh, that's what it is probably, right? Like bringing in energy, right? As I'm expanding my coaching practice, right? That's what it is, right? Okay. And as you understand that, you start understanding that, you know, all of it, it makes who you are, and you are this, okay? And as you look at this picture, what will bring your attention? What is the emphasis? The emphasis is your biggest circle. This is what you're paying attention the most. And that's what it should be in the first place also, because you are the center. Pardon me, but I'm going to say you are the center of the universe in a way, okay? Because you are for yourself, okay? And that's what it is. I become more aware, I become more conscious. I accept all those energies within me, and I expand myself. I feel like I grow. And if you feel that way, you can do that. You can grow yourself. You can grow, make a bigger circle of who you are, and just kind of bring it in. Okay. I want to add field lines, and we're done. Like I said, what am I doing with field lines? Blue. I need blue here. Okay. And the field lines will go this way. I'm going, give intentions to your field lines. I'm going through the translator as I want to bring intention and work with the book. I want to get the book published. We need to get the book published, okay? It's really an impending and important process we need to do. Okay. And I'm bringing the neural line, trying to bring in the neural line through all 4 directions, right, of who I am. But notice my movement is going this way toward the instructor of who I am as an instructor. Okay. Okay. There you go. 2 to 3 neural lines, field lines. Okay. And as I added the field lines, I feel comfortable doing the oil pastels, because as much as I love the colors I put in, I feel like I need to expand my colors. And I think that's something I'm going to do on my own. I do want to let you guys go. I want to thank you. Thank you for being such a great, great audience and allowing me to bring this beautiful, beautiful algorithm again. It was created by my friend Vera Ruchko. She's a truly amazing person, and I want to acknowledge that. And I am bringing more of her algorithms to life, okay? I got rights to teaching few of her really, truly amazing courses. One of them that hopefully soon will be financial regeneration, right? And another one is called something the neuro butterfly. It's an amazing way to bring in you know, to figure out what your goal is and to start bringing it in. And talking about that, I'm inviting everybody for the neuro goal course, the next course we have that will starting next Thursday. Everybody's welcome to join. It's truly an amazing, because it teaches, it actually deals with the very first step of the algorithm. The goal. How do you set up a goal? How do you know what your topic is? How do you know, what do you decide what kind of goal you should be doing? Okay. And that's will be dealt in depth as we will be teaching the course. So welcome to come. Welcome to join. I would love to see you. Any questions you can write for now. Thank you. Do feel free. I'm done almost. I would like to share, if anybody wants to share a picture, give some feedback, I would appreciate it. You're welcome to, you know, give some feedback. How did you like it? How did you enjoy it? It's a completely like unusual, right? We're used to something simpler when we work with the Neurographica, but this is such an interesting and psychological algorithm. So yeah. Thank you, Miriam. Yeah, absolutely. I felt like it was such a, yeah, Ilona, thank you. Yeah, so useful and helpful. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Okay. What I'm going to do next, and I will show you, I will post my final picture in the world of Neurographica. You're welcome to do that. And I'm inviting you to, of course, if you, and when you share it in your page, in your profile, do go ahead and kind of like tag me, tag the world of Neurographica. We would love that also. So I want to, I'm going into the gallery view. Anybody wants to share a picture? Anybody wants to say something? You're welcome to. It's up to you. You can open up your microphones and talk about it. How did you enjoy the method? It was an interesting algorithm, right? Isn't it? Unusual, but yet so effective. Huh? And I realized I didn't transfer my camera.
Now, first of all, I want to thank you. Was really, I want to thank you for a wonderful session. Is indeed very deep. I must say it was a little difficult to concentrate and to reflect to my theme. I was listening to you. You are a wonderful coach, really. Is in your own way, you share your reflections with us, and you show us how this need to be done. Is wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Violetta. This is really sweet. Yeah, go ahead.
It's real. is very real. I am not such a talker, let's say, but to talk to myself, I can do it quite well, and you showed me how to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Violetta.
Was
thank
wonderful.
you for your, thank you. You're very welcome, first of all. You're very, very welcome. Lindsay, beautiful. Give me a second. I want to share yours. So Violetta, I want to say thank you, and you're very welcome. I'm so glad to hear that you experience it, because it's very, very important. And I appreciate it. I do enjoy sharing everything with you. Wonderful drawing, everybody. Wow. Look how beautiful it is. Excellent.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Wow. Look how colorful everybody's are. And yeah, you extended, you did more than the 4, Ilona. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Estella, so nice. Beautiful, Estella. Beautiful job. Everybody, amazing jobs. And that's what it is, right? And I do want to encourage you to grow, okay? I do want to encourage you to grow your circle, make it bigger, see how well you want to grow, allow yourself to grow, taking that achievement that you did, that you acknowledged, right? The social acknowledgement that you turn into your achievement. Wow, Violetta, beautiful, colorful and beautiful. I love it. So beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with me. That really, yeah, it usually does happen that way, that when you listen, you don't follow your own thought, but you listen. But I do appreciate you saying that, because that is my intention, to model to you. This is how Pavel teaches, and that's how I teach, because I find it to be the most amazing, the most right way to teach what I want to do. So absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Estella. Thank you for joining us. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm wishing everybody a great day or a night, or maybe some people it's morning ahead. Wonderful day, night ahead. And welcome to join for other sessions, and looking forward to seeing your completed picture. Okay. Any questions? We're good. Everybody's good about the algorithm. You got the point, right? You got the gist. Good.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you, Alina. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.